Good morning, everybody. I started going through this morning like a death scroll, and I'm looking at a tweet from John Spencer, and he watched the footage that the Israeli government released for everything that happened in October 7th, and it goes 45 minutes long into everything. And I can tell you that I did not watch the video, and I try to avoid watching most of these videos. As a young man, I could watch more of like ISIS videos, but now as an adult and a father, my stomach doesn't hold it in very much. And I started reading through this thing, and I read like maybe five or six tweets of his in the thread, and I figured, what the heck, I should just record this live for anybody who had not seen this tweet. Go check out John Spencer at SpencerGuard at x.com if you want to read it through. I'm just going to read through this thing. And if you are not familiar with what happened in October 7th in Israel, and you're not sure about free Palestine versus Israel or whatever, I don't know, man. I can tell you that even as an Israeli and ex-Navy and everything, I still feel bad for the Palestinians that are getting bombarded, but it is what it is. And when you read through what happened and you see what's going on, and you don't understand why you have to fight these terrorists and free Palestine from Hamas, then I don't know how can you do that. So let me read through this thing, and you bear with me and tell me what you think. So I'm reading through this thing, and I'm starting now. So I just watched the roughly 45 minutes of footage of October 7th at a private screening in New York City. Here are my immediate thoughts minutes after watching it, John Spencer. The video is a compilation of mainly Hamas GoPro cameras and cell phones carried by hundreds of terrorists, but it also includes Israeli CCTV, car dash cams, traffic cams, first responder cell videos to piece together before, during, and after single events of the massacre. The video starts with Hamas terrorists riding in the back of trucks, armed with AK-47s, RPGs, and a few heavy machine guns. Through a cut in the border wall, the terrorists all screaming with joy, yelling over and over, Allahu Akbar, more trucks and motorcycles into Israel behind them. First scene is on highway in southern Israel. From a vehicle dash cam, over 10 terrorists spread out, shooting down cars. Bullets come through the glass. Then to Hamas GoPro engaging the car, they approach and shoot the men and women in the car at close range to ensure that they were dead. Next, a kibbutz entrance gets CCTV. Hamas terrorists walk up to the gate, hoping to sneak in, but closed, and they walk off the camera. Civilian car approaches the gate, which starts to open. The terrorists fire at the windows at close range, making sure all dead, and walk into the kibbutz. A home CCTV footage in the kibbutz. Yeah, this one, that's pretty much where I stopped. So a home CCTV footage in the kibbutz, a father in his underwear looks to have just woken, frantically carrying his two sons. Running, boys also in underwear. Both appear to be between 8 to 12, like my son. Another camera shows them leave the house and enter a shelter in their backyard. Seconds later, a Hamas approaches the shelter. The father and the sons entered, looks in, and then throws a grenade into it. The father falls out of the shelter, dead, clearly having attempted to stand between his sons and the terrorist. The boys are pulled out of the shelter over the dead father's body by terrorists. They are taken back into the house. The, they, they've been put on the couch in the house, and now sounds vividly of their moans of pain, blood from their injuries covering them, the boys talking to each other, dad is dead. The older brother trying to comfort the younger, covered in blood now. Can you see out of your eye? No, not at all. No, I can't see anything. The terrorist next to them is going through their fridge, picking out the water and Coke to drink. CCTV footage in a kindergarten. A lone teacher hiding in a room, trying to use kidnap pads to hide. Oh my God. Hamas terrorists enter, search in rooms, look into her room, and fires at her, the kindergarten teacher. Terrorists enter the room, makes sure she is dead, puts her on his shoulder, and carries her away. Scenes of the Nova Music Festival. Young kids dancing with Hamas paragliders in the distance, gunfire. The teenager running in chaos. First in cars, then hundreds abandoning their cars and running in mass into an open field as Hamas terrorists show up. Hamas footage of their vehicle arriving to the festival. Terrorists jumping out to all fire at the teenagers running through the field. One of the Hamas heavy machine guns mounted in the back of a pickup open fire. Then Hamas entering the festival, firing wildly into the porta-johns. Footage of petrified Israeli teenagers hiding in those porta-johns. These videos of the bodies and blood in porta-johns. Oh, I'm sorry. Then videos of the bodies and blood in the porta-johns. So yeah, they shot them inside of it. Heroes, freedom fighters, eh? Tens of Israeli teenagers hiding in a large dumpster of black trash bags. A few seconds later, a first responder video of just dead bodies in the dumpster. First responder arriving into the festival, calling out as they get to a food/bar tent. I have 1 dead, 2, 3, 4, 5 dead. Is anybody alive? Please let me know if you are alive. Only to then look over the bar counter to see tens of civilians' bodies laying on top of each other. Rape and targeting of the young women at the festival. First, a video of a group of more than 5 teenage girls, scared, shaking, huddled together in a tent. Hamas terrorists enter the tent. All girls handcuffed, walked out of the tent, now all bloodied faces, some put in different vehicles. One girl from the original huddle from the line walked out, separated, and put into a jeep. Later, same girl moved, pants covered in blood, just around anus to front of pants. More photos of dead teenage women laying in the field of the festival. No pants, legs appear broken. Beheadings. Once, this was not a good idea in retrospect. Beheadings. One scene shows Hamas in a kibbutz screaming at a dead elderly Israeli man, stepping on his head, and then asking for the garden hoe nearby. The Hamas terrorist strikes at the old man's need repeatedly, trying to behead. Oh, yeah. So the Hamas terrorist strikes at the old man's, I think, head repeatedly, trying to behead him. Later seen, Hamas terrorist takes a knife and quickly severs the head of an IDF soldier, helmet still on his head, and walks off with the soldier's head leaving his body. Other photos of just heads in field flattened from some type smashing. These guys are just ISIS. They're just ISIS. And some people in the US are supporting them somehow. This is extremely interesting. Many scenes of burned bodies, bodies frozen in awkward positions in vehicles, on the highways, in their homes, and burned to ashy skeletons. It gave me memories of visiting concentration camps of Dachau and seeing the photos of the Holocaust. From a military lens, I saw Hamas fighters with training, leaders giving orders to kill systematically, conserving ammo, orders shot them just once in the head, save your ammo. I heard their communication back to leaders in Gaza with radios, also terrorists with no training. One Hamas terrorist used an Israeli woman's cell phone to call his parents. Father, I am in. I just killed 10 Jews. Their blood is in my hands. Thank God. Tell mom, your son is killing Jews. Well, I hope they're proud. The man, brackets dad, and woman, brackets mom, he is talking to just yell and reply, kill, kill, kill. Parenthood. I'm a parent too. Well, I've seen my share of evil firsthand around the world. This is again John Spencer. I'm reading it through his tweets. So I've seen my share of evil firsthand around the world in wars in the Middle East, Ukraine, etc. I've seen heinous cruelty, dehumanization, mutilations. I've looked an evil man in the eye, but I've never seen so many evil men, hundreds, thousands, show such joy in committing their acts. I understand now why this video must be selectively shown. You can't watch it without being in some way traumatized. I will never forget the children. Photo after photo of dead children in their PJs. Mickey Mouse, Stitch, my daughter loves at the moment, covered in blood, dead. I hated having to watch the video. You can't unsee the evil shown in it. No one should want to see this. But the horrors of that day should never be forgotten. And I'm saying it should actually, you're talking about forgotten. A lot of people are just not aware that it exists. Some are just saying it doesn't exist. They look at like Hamas footage that the Hamas uploaded and they're saying it's AI. I don't get it. What 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 are you claiming here? It doesn't make any sense. Never mind. Back to John Spencer. Never rationalize the way. The phrase in my head the whole time, never again from the past, but I was watching it again. And I think, yeah, and that's it for the tweet thread. I don't know. It's like I'm reading through this thing, and it's obviously extremely hard to read, and not because these people are Israeli or Jewish. It's because these are people. It's I don't get it. Like I I understand war. I understand that there is battle. I understand the Palestinians claim. I personally, I absolutely despise the current Israeli politicians that are in power, and I think that they're doing damage for both sides. But the scale of evil isn't even it's not on the same scale. It's not comparable. You have people that are killing children with joy, aiming towards them. Why the children? Just kill the adults, no? If you're trying to combat with whatever. Like, what's going on? These guys, when you are chanting pro-Hamas, even if you hate Israel, you can despise Israel. Hey, I can get it. Maybe I don't hate Israel. I'm an ex-Israeli, but I get it. I understand this. But how can you be pro-Hamas? It doesn't make any sense. Other than them being just complete psychopaths, objectively speaking, like you need to be a psychopath in order to do this type of atrocities, right? Like I wouldn't be able to go into like a Hamas operative house and kill his children. It's impossible. How can you do something like this? But whatever. Even if you don't care for Israel, if you don't care for the Jewish people, hey, I get it. Don't you care for the Palestinians? Like, what did you think that's going to happen after you go into a stronger powerhouse, kill civilians in their beds? Like, they knew, Hamas knew that they're going to get a retaliation of 10 or 20x in power, and they knew what they're getting themselves into, and they have their little tunnels, and they hide beneath the hospitals and their civilians, and they shoot their civilians when they try to back out. Hey, it is what it is. But I'm just saying, like, I understand why Hamas is doing that. They are psychopaths. They don't care. It's a religious war, whatever it is. What I don't understand is how Palestinians that care for Palestine, they care for their people, obviously. How can they be chanting for this? You're blaming Israel for the genocide or whatever that you describe here that is happening because of Hamas, right? Like, isn't it obvious? You can be pro-Palestine. You can be pro-Palestine. I get this. I understand this. I want peace for the Palestinians too. I personally, and I know Israelis are going to be mad at me, but I personally believe that they deserve to have something of their own. We need to help them to build it or whatever, but you can't build it when you have a bunch of psychopaths running the show. What's going to happen? Do you want to give psychopaths a country? Do you want these guys that are going and beheading children? Do you want them to be in government? They've been in government for like 16 years. How is it working out? I don't think it works out super well. So if you are chanting to free Palestine, that's fine, but maybe you should be chanting free Palestine from Hamas.